This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Recording has started.
Hey heroes, welcome back to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me as always is the hero of the ages, the man whom Heracles himself says, "Can I have your autograph?"
Fill me in, Perich.
There we go. Let him fill you in. His knowledge is wide and vast. Hey, Philip. Stuff to talk about. Lots of things out there. You know, Twitter got upset because Brie Larson pushed a truck. Did you hear this?
No.
Yeah, I get. She just thing people today they do the strongman training thing, where they're flipping tires and all that kind of crazy stuff. And one of the things she did was she was pushing a 5,000-pound Jeep, and said, "Oh yeah, she pushed it in neutral." It's like, well, what else is she gonna push it in?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, and I just want to make a point here. As a big guy who has pushed a lot of smaller cars, you feel that if there's even a slight incline, you feel all the weight of it. And even on a flat, Hollywood parking lot, I'm sure there's a lot of weight to get that going. And because she is not a big guy, she has no weight to put it behind it. She is doing that all with sheer force of legs. And so, yeah, I'd say that's an impressive feat. And I don't know why people got upset by that. But that's something that came across my Facebook feed, and I had to explain to people, the physics of pushing a car.
That sounds pretty impressive, because, she doesn't even look like like she's that tall or that, she doesn't.
No,
but she's small.
She's got the leg strength, man. She's got the back strength. She's been working out, She's got all ripped up abs and stuff. Anyway, so yeah. Although it actually worked out nice because I actually got into a nice conversation about the nature of superpowers and my own theories on how basically. Here's the thing: if you want to explain superheroisms and superpowers, you cannot use Newtonian physics.
Of course,
Superman doesn't fly with thrust. It's just, there's no way you can fly with thrust. Iron Man, you can argue, flies with thrust. Anybody else who flies, if you're flying by power, it's not thrust, it's not aerodynamics. My own theory is that it is essentially repeated quantum tunneling, that you're essentially, in the same way that a transporter works, by having your molecules move from one point in space to another point in space. Not by breaking down your molecules, but by actually having them quantum tunnel to another location along a beam. What you are doing in flight is you are essentially moving your particles to another quantum state. And I have this nice, what I like to think of as a grand unified theory of superpowers. Basically, in superpowered universes, these are universes in which matter is in a much more energized state and can move more freely between quantum states. And so that's exactly how you get those, how you can have superpowers, because they can exist within the physics of the quantum physics in those universes have a little more leeway, and they can move a little further and a little faster.
Yeah, but with the example of Superman, I think, remember the John Byrne era where he was just wearing cloth costumes, and they said, he said he had that aura really close to his body that, kept the suits intact, but the cape got all messed up. What if that's what if part of that was an anti, some sort of anti-gravity? So
Oh, yeah. And you certainly can have that as well. I mean, there's lots of ways to explain it. John Byrne, he loves a force field. Just saying. And the idea that Superman's just surrounded by a force field works too, but I like to think that here's my thing is, I think that Superman has to be charged in a way, because that's my thing. It's that's why he actually is a threat to Dr. Manhattan. And why this entire universe is, because basically Dr. Manhattan exists as the sole being who is in that superheroic energized state, and it gives him this amazing powers. But in this universe, that energized state is far more common, and it's an actual threat to him because a guy like Superman is constantly moving in that quantum realm.
Yeah, I mean,
because he's moving his in my theory, he's moving his molecules in this way, and that's why he can't just explode him, because his molecules are stronger than that.
I mean, Superman is like another walking nuclear reactor, but instead, he's not like Dr. Manhattan who can play with molecules and stuff. It's more, physical force.
Well, in my theory, it's actually that he is just in control of his own molecules. It's the difference between the Molecule Man and the Impossible Man.
Yes.
And to bring it all around, there's always that, and I believe John Byrne actually even did this with doing a tie-in between the Molecule Man, or not the Molecule Man, Mr. Mxyzptlk, as they call him now. Why can't they just call him Mr. Mxyzptlk like they used to in the 70s? Mr. Mxyzptlk, and Clipsal skin. It works better, because even if there are no vowels there, you still have to have a vowel to pronounce the word. But when you have a guy like the Molecule Man, like the Impossible Man, where all of his atoms are under his own control, that he can readjust himself in any way, having control of someone's atoms doesn't give you as much power because that person actually is in control of their own atoms. So it's an interesting question. It's your basic irresistible force meets an immovable object kind of concept. Yeah.
Not to get too far off the beaten track, because I think Byrne might have been gone by then, but because 1990 and Superman 50, they kind of implied that Mxyzptlk and the Impossible Man were the same person, because he was messing with Superman, and then after his whole plan was done, they showed him blink back to this other universe, and they didn't show the Fantastic Four except parts of the, blue uniforms or something. Yeah. And he's
that was Byrne.
I can't remember. He might have been gone. I can't remember if that was him or if he was gone from the books. But he pops as Mxyzptlk, and these mysterious blue-clad strangers were like, "Who's that?" He's like, "Oh wait, I forgot. This isn't my form in this dimension." And he kind of made. Then you just see our pop, and he looks like the Impossible Man.
Yeah. Yes. I love that book too. But yeah, I thought that was a Byrne. It might not have been a Byrne. It might have been after Byrne. But as we were saying back over on Capes and Lunatics, these writers, they're all friends. They all read each other's books. They all read Marvel and DC growing up,
Oh, yeah.
So they all had love of the Impossible Man and of the Beyonder and things like that. Although I did actually what Byrne did was when Byrne introduces Mr. Mxyzptlk, he has him show up as the Beyonder, which is cute too. But yeah, we all remember when Byrne was the big get. He was the Bendis of his age. Anyway,
don't say that.
But let's just touch base on the Orville for a minute and Mocklin.
Yes.
Man, they are really digging in with these Mocklins, and it's an interesting question because obviously, so this is all about, what happens when a Mocklin is, heterosexual, and that's unthinkable in this society, which, Star Trek did first with their own single gendered species. And they had a whole thing about,
So are they playing the Mocklins here, like certain Middle Eastern cultures, that they're against different sexualities and they seem more violent to,
Middle Eastern cultures, Philip?
Well,
have you been to Mississippi, Philip?
Yeah, I know, but I was just thinking of the religious aspects and.
Yeah, well, not for nothing. Yes, that is a quality.
And I was going to say people who look different than you, and yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I guess I'm still talking about Mississippi, but anyway.
You've been to Mississippi.
Yeah, I guess I'm still talking about. Anyway.
Yeah. I shouldn't be picking on Mississippi. Lots of places all over it. Yeah, but no. Well, here's the thing, and yes, you can read it that way. That it does. Basically it is a great take on, one of the things that I always that I really like about the show is that it does take what are kind of one-off concepts from Star Trek and then just puts them on a ship. And of course, if you're a fan of Star Trek novels, you know that there are characters, like there's a ship captain, that, and this idea of what a horde is, there's no reason why. But all of the dynamics, unicorns, and the Mocklins are very rigid, and you do get this idea, as Bortus says, we live on a harsh and unforgiving world, and the only thing that has kept us through is our traditions.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how arguable that really is. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was gonna say they're definitely playing them as like the Klingons of this universe.
Yeah, but and again, like the idea, like as you had with the Federation, which is like, really, the Klingons are a diametrically opposed force to the Federation. And it is this question, can the Mocklins and Union really have this relationship when every time they encounter it, it's like some other crazy thing? And it was kind of acute crazy when it's like, oh no, Mocklin divorces, you stab your spouse.
I love how the breakups.
Just what you do.
I love divorces. You have to stab them, but like breakups, you just have to give them a tooth.
Yeah, you give them a tooth, and then your new love eats the tooth. Man, if you dated a lot, you could run out of teeth real quick. I can imagine.
I know. Oh, maybe that's another thing. Maybe that's another part of their culture. They don't want people to be promiscuous and stuff, so they're just like,
yeah.
That's the whole teeth
or they
thing.
just grow back teeth.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe they grow back teeth. Yeah, maybe Mocklins grow. Maybe they got extra teeth. Like sharks. Sharks always generate new teeth. So
possible.
They're egg-laying. They're monotremes. They're egg-laying mammals. So who knows what other qualities they might have? They might be venomous. That'd be interesting to find out that Mocklins are venomous. Fingers crossed. Bortus bites someone, gets Mocklin poisoning. They didn't have to think of it when they started it, but they could say, well, they are monotremes. They are egg-laying mammals. Maybe they're poisonous, like they were venomous, like the duck-billed platypus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They're actually. Moving right along, but it is neat how they're taking these characters, they're exploring things, and how really what is. And here's the thing: I do think this guy is going to come back because he is the greatest engineer on Mocklin, and of course we have a history in the United States of people that were seen as not being acceptable in society getting a blind eye turned towards them because we need a good engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I'm sure that it's one of these things where the guy had that people knew, as we say, it's not so much that it was a scandal, it was that now it's been exposed and now we have to make a show of it. And so I wouldn't be surprised if this guy is not back in later episodes.
Oh,
so I'm hoping so.
I wonder if he turned it down this episode, but I wonder if he comes back seeking asylum in the future.
Well, but like he said, he doesn't want to hide anymore. And I think that was really the thing. He wants to take his stand.
Mm-hmm.
Although what I don't get about that was he was already hiding. So I don't, except he wanted to be free. And of course, asylum is actually being just a prisoner on another ship. Being a prisoner of the Union.
Yeah, but
be a prisoner on Mocklin.
Yeah, but if they try to,
sorry.
Yeah, but didn't he say that it's possible they might try to kill him? So it's like, I think, life's trapped on a ship might be better than, death. Charlie?
Yeah, well, of course, the whole idea is that if he's dead, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Phil? Or?
Yeah.
Hello, Phil. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there's always a little bit of a lag here. I don't know, but if he had escaped and he goes into this idea of just be, maybe if he was gone, they wouldn't chase him. Maybe a lot of Mocklins are like, maybe they don't all feel the way that it's like officially that's your stance, but if someone's not in your face, as it were, then you can tolerate their heterosexuality as an abstract concept, But it was a great take, and I did not think it got overly preachy. Just some interesting takes on it, especially in the idea that when Portis's mate, I'm blanking on his name again.
Yeah, me too.
Wants to thank. Honestly, Portis and him have a very strange relationship. And I wonder if those two are going. I wonder if there's going to be another divorce coming up. Yeah, well, they might have to. They might have to. Whatever they're going to deal with that. It's like they're having issues, and everyone's having issues because even Mockingbird and the teacher are having issues at the very start.
Grayson, yeah,
Grayson, yeah. She'll always be Mockingbird to me. But you know what? And that guy is really that is not an attractive look. You texting her every hour,
and the giant plant.
I don't even know what that was about. I really don't even. Yeah, but it's not like he was giving her a flower. It's just a flower was in her apartment to talk him up. I guess it's like the idea of, just fill her room with flowers. Like, well, what if it was a talking flower? But then it's like, it's a sentient being. It's not like she gets to keep him. He's just his old buddy from college. And he's like, oh, man, let me tell you. Also, it seemed like it was his weed dealer from college, too. It really seemed like this was like the guy you wanted, like, endorsing you. You know what I mean?
A weed selling weed.
Not what makes it himself. Yeah. So, and again, I think it's a nice balance of drama and humor. And yeah, I just really think this is just a great Star Trek show. But I liked the commander really saying, I don't know if the Union doesn't remain at peace, which does create these interesting questions, especially with the Krill. Do the Krill ever seek allies?
Mm-hmm.
And would the Mocklins join with the Krill as an alliance? But I don't think the Krill ever would. That's the thing. It's like I think the Krill, their nature is to be so xenophobic. I mean, like I said, and I really want to see more with the people on the other side of Krill's face. But we do know they're going into unexplored space soon, so that'll be fun.
Oh yeah, just watch it. Just watching those previews for next week, it hit me. I wonder if we're gonna get any races. Like is the Orville gonna get their Borg?
Yeah. Well, although like I said, I really think that if that assumes Isaac Borg already.
It doesn't even have to be. It doesn't have to even be like a technological thing. I'm just thinking, is there going to be some race so like that even those races that aren't in the Union are going to have to like help them because it's like this race is just about assimilating or obliterating everyone.
I think that's what the Krill are. And maybe that's even the argument that's why the Mocklins are in the Union. Because the Krill are a big enough threat. And maybe if the Krill were ever defeated, then maybe you would get those tensions with the Mocklins again. Because the Mocklins want to live their life their way.
Mm-hmm.
Which is its own interesting argument to be made. It's like, do the Mocklins have a right to live their lives their way? Even though it is abhorrent to us, it seems like the Mocklins in their culture seem to actually accepted as the way to live. I mean, even Portis's mate, who was reassigned at birth, wanted that for his own child because that is how he believes that their ways are right. It's their ways have helped them survive, and that there is a reason for it and a purpose for it beyond just what makes you happy. As people will say, life isn't about making you happy. If it was, we'd all be happier. But anyway, that's what's interesting over on the Orville. If you're not watching it, Lilith Hellfire, take a moment and clear it off your DVR.
But did you see this article in Newsarama? They announced the premise of the Loki series that's coming.
What is that?
It says, and I quote, "The reported premise of the show will reveal how Loki was an unlikely influencer on historical events as he pops up throughout human history."
Oh, wonderful. So it's basically Voyagers with Loki.
Yeah.
I want that. I'm all about that. Here's what I'll say about Loki. I think this Loki series is going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be great. Right up there with our new Howard the Duck series coming to Hulu.
I think it'll be interesting.
The fans demanded it.
I think it'll be interesting. He'll be able to play the character. Not having to be the bad guy every time. And sometimes he might be the hero of the story once. Every so often. And
well, is he ever not the hero of the story? Is he ever not the hero of his own story?
Of his own story, yes.
Yes, he is the god of stories after all. The idea that he's not the bad guy, I think it would be an oversimplification because obviously he's a trickster god and he is a god seeking to cause mischief. So him suggesting Napoleon go march on Moscow just for giggles. I can see that happening. Oh, Napoleon, you should totally go into Moscow. You can totally take the Tsar. That's just, and then it'd be great because then we could get him to fight, was it Perun, the Russian Thor?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you remind me of my brother.
Oh, man. Oh, so Loki's going to be all Quantum Leap.
You can see the delays going on there.
Sure, I said Loki could be all Quantum Leap.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said, oh, boy. Oh my. Loki traveling through time. Even Loki and Hinch at time. And Loki perhaps meeting older Loki or even multiple types of Loki throughout cycles of Ragnarok. There's all sorts of interesting ways they can do it. They've done so much with the Loki character. We have lived in the golden age of Loki for the last, since that first Avengers film. And I think that, it's about time he got his own. It's about time he got his own series. But I think the Quantum Leap aspect sounds fun. So, fingers crossed it's not bad. We also got that there is going to be, apparently, and these are officially cartoon series, right? We're getting Howard the Duck, MODOK on Hulu.
Yes.
Patton Oswald is producing, is it Patton Oswald and Kevin Smith are doing MODOK, or is it Patton Oswald is doing MODOK and Kevin Smith is doing Howard the Duck?
I thought I heard somewhere that was Kevin Smith doing Howard the Duck, I thought.
Yeah. I thought that was, I know that they're both the really big names, but one of the things I think is the buried lead in this, that in this own Offenders universe, we're also getting Tigra and a Tigra Dazzler team up, which is interesting to me just because I don't think these two have ever teamed up before.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why they're teaming up them now, unless someone was saying, remember when they did the Dazzler Beast storyline in the 80s?
Mm.
I wonder if this is basically said, well, we want to do Dazzler Beast, but, we actually want to, butt-kicking females. And said, well, who's the female that looks like the Beast? And said, well, Tigra. I said, okay, so let's do Tigra and Dazzler. I'm going to send them on adventures.
Well, is that series going to be like their answer to the DC Universe's upcoming Harley Quinn animated series?
Well, I don't know if it's an answer. It might be, I don't know. Maybe.
Well, competition,
Yeah. It's, yes, because every TV show with women on it must be in competition.
Well, I'm talking Marvel DC feud here, because half the time they're just like, oh yeah, you're going to do this. Well, we'll show you how to do it better,
Yeah, well, or not so much. It's possible. I cannot imagine them having the same feel and vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kylie Coco's Harley Quinn is going to be a very different Harley Quinn than the Dazzler we're going to get.
Well, I shouldn't even say this shows their answer to the Harley Quinn thing. I wonder if all these series, the whole Offenders line is their answer to the Harley Quinn thing. It's like, oh yeah, you think you could do it one time? We'll outmatch you 4 times.
Yeah, but only one of them's an actual villain. Only one of them is MODOK.
Yeah.
And MODOK, I think MODOK is such an interesting choice. Because, again, we've done so much with MODOK in recent years.
So many different versions, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I love Brodok, man. Brodok was awesome. And MODOK in love with Maria Hill was great. And now we've got classic evil MODOK again. And here's all I got to say. I just pray that Patton Oswalt is doing the voice of MODOK.
Oh, yeah.
Because I cannot think of anyone better suited. Like, just when you say Patton Oswalt is associated with this MODOK, it's like, the fact that Jay Ward was the voice of Bullwinkle. It's imagine anyone else doing it. I think Jay Ward was the voice of Bullwinkle. I believe that's how that story went. But anyway, yeah, that is perfect. Patton, voice of MODOK. Honestly, Patton Oswalt should be the face of MODOK. Patton Oswalt should be MODOK. No, I'm just saying they should draw Patton Oswalt's face.
Oh, I was going to say CGI.
Face.
I was going to say CGI, just take his head and stick it on whatever MODOK animation they have.
Well, I do think it's animation. Well, they can just also make him look like, I'm saying they can draw him to look like Patton Oswalt. I'm just saying Patton Oswalt has a MODOK-looking face. Big square head. I have a big square head, too.
Fight me,
but, so it's not a negative. I'm just saying, if I saw Patton Oswalt's face with the tiny arms hanging off the ears like that, I would run. That would be frightening. So yeah, I definitely want to see where MODOK goes. I definitely want to see. Ooh, I wonder if we'll get Gwenpool in a crossover.
Ooh, maybe.
He's going to be, oh wow, I'm animated now? This is great.
That could be the link between all the shows. Gwenpool.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love it. She can go interact with Tigra and Dazzler. That's going to be great. And I am thinking that they're probably going to be basing that, like I said, on that 80s Dazzler Beast story.
Yeah.
Good old Beast.
Oh, that would be a great Gwenpool show. It'd be like, I am the evil MODOK. You sound like Patton Oswalt.
Yes.
Who's that? I am MODOK.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I don't think she'd say she'd sound like Patton Oswalt. She'd be like, "Oh, is Patton Oswalt doing your voice? That is so cool." Who's doing me? Am I Tara? Is this Tara Strong? I don't think this is Tara Strong. Who did they cast as me? I don't even know who this lady is.
At least it's not one of those Big Bang people.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yes. I'm just waiting for that third Harley man. Blasphemous Harley.
Oh, they could.
Oh, you know what? When they flash back and she's Harleen Quinzel, the doctor, they should absolutely get
yes,
get her to be that voice. That is just too perfect. And she's looking for work. She's a little upset at Sheldon.
I think most of them are. They were making good money until he was like, "Yeah, I'm done."
Well, not for nothing. He's done it for a long time. It's one character. He's done a lot with this character, and he really wants to do something else, And I get that. Honestly, this show's been on for, 10 years now?
It might be, it might be over 10, isn't it? Like 12, maybe? It's like, it's like 10 or 12,
it's insane. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've never had a job for 10 years, so. I get it, And, it's just like, what else can you do with
Yeah.
obsessive nerds,
Yeah,
but at least I'll say these guys were a lot more likable than the Friends guys, even though they are a lot less likable as time has gone on, because now everyone's saying, no, they're nice guy bullies and they are sexually bad people, which I'm not going to argue. I can totally see where people are coming from with that. But, I think this will age better than Friends age.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of anti-Friends backlash out there.
Yeah. But
Big Bang Theory will get that too.
But yeah, this final season is season 12, so yeah, they've been at it for 12 years.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, the guy wants to do something different,
Oh, and
I mean, he's not going to get to. He's going to get to do, like I say, he's going to get to do Uncle Vanya. Everybody wants to do Uncle Vanya, do a road show, because he's got the money for it. He can do it now. He doesn't have to.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do this anymore. It's like James Cagney. I've got enough money. I can do whatever I want now.
But now I'll tell you and I'll tell the audience, Lilith Hellfire wants to do a special on the podcast on the final episode of Big Bang Theory. So
okay, that's fine. I'm happy to do it. We're gonna do a live watch, or are we gonna?
I don't know.
Talk about it after the show.
Maybe after it that night. I don't know.
Okay, I will inform Moz. We may have to push guest punishments too.
And invite Moz.
Oh, I'd love to invite. I mean, Moz is free because it is a Thursday night, and that is when Moz tends to be free.
Yeah.
So that's the trick,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Should we talk comics?
Oh yes. We gotta talk Winter Soldier, number Trey.
Number 3. Yep.
And as the parent of a tween child, I can say I so get RJ's outburst here. And man, we need some kind of consistency on what are the rules and how you draw Sharon. She cannot look, and it's like this. If you want to go, first off, as I've said, she's 45. She was only in the Z dimension for 12 years.
She's 45, not 65. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly. And granted, hard living is hard living, but it's like, it's half the time they draw, and she's like, really looks like, okay, she looks like a 45-year-old woman, and now she looks like Agatha Harkness, now she's Aunt May, now she's young hot Aunt May, and it's like, just pick one. First off, Spider-Man 2, pick one Aunt May. Actually, I think Spider-Man's fairly consistent across the books as to what iteration of Aunt May they're doing. But in all the cat books, no one knows quite what to do with Sharon. Yeah, I love Polka Dot Man.
Oh, the Spot, yes.
The Spot, yeah. He'll always be Polka Dot Man to me.
Old Spider-Man villain, yep.
Oh, yeah. You know what I love about him is his origin? Because he's actually a scientist.
Oh, yeah, the Kingpin. Yeah, he was working for the Kingpin, yeah.
He's one of the Kingpin's many scientists, and they captured the Dark Force from Cloak's thing, and it started to fade, and then he fell into it, and instead of gaining Dark Force powers, he gained Polka Dot powers.
I mean, they played him as a joke for many years, but I mean, his powers, he's pretty powerful. He can open up these dimensional portals and...
Yeah, well, he looks silly, but he is powerful, exactly. And what's most fascinating about him is that and especially this one, it's implying there actually is a Polka Dot universe. Because we've always known that there is a dark dimension. And I really wish they'd do more with the light dimension, because clearly Dagger's powers are coming from somewhere, so there has to be a light dimension as well. Mm-hmm. And then there is this middle ground called Polka Dot dimension, which is where our man Spot is hanging out. So you gotta love it's like, honestly, I was gonna pick it up anyway, but just the second I saw Spot, I said, I'm all over this.
And the other character in there that you picked it up for, I'm sure. Doc Samson.
Oh yes, Dr. Samson. Alive, no explanation. We got no explanation. And what's weird about this, this is the weirdest thing with Doc Samson being alive, because in Avengers No Road Home, we do reference the whole Suicide of the Hulk thing.
Yes.
But that's also all kind of tied to Banner being cured of the Hulk, and also when the Hulk was going around depowering everybody else too. Mm-hmm. And I just had to dig up, make sure you were dead, Doc. Sorry about that, And then we never get an explanation. It's just Franklin said, you know what? I like the guy with the green hair. And my hope is that we are going to get Ty Burrell back in the Avengers movies, and that's why they're subtly slipping him in there. You're going to need that later.
Oh yeah.
But no, I like the fact that RJ's like, oh, you say we can have a perfect life, and Bucky's like, I never said you could have a perfect life, Yeah, what part of my life made you think my life was perfect?
He's like, all I said is I could help you try to make it better. I never said perfect.
Yeah. So, but here's my big theory in all of this. RJ is the kid from the end of the Super Soldier run. He is the kid that we're going to build our own Captain America. And him going with Bucky Barnes, this is all part of the setup. This is all part of the plot. And here's the big reveal. At the very end, the person behind all of this, Hydra Cap.
Oh.
Because they're building a new Hydra Cap. Because remember, Hydra Cap thinks he's the real Cap. And he says, I know exactly all the things that made me to be the best one, and because it's Hydra. And they mentioned that he is Hydra in this.
Yeah.
It says, that was what Machine Smith was working with. And it tells me that they are building their new Captain Hydra, and this is all part of the plan.
I'm just wondering if there's some connection with the initials RJ.
RJ?
Rick.
Oh, Rick Jones. Oh, and they do say we can call you Rick.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's another clone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Rick Jones was Bucky for 2 seconds. So
yeah, but And here's my big prediction. See chubby guy? Looks a little like Carol O'Connor, but with dark hair. Like early Archie Bunker.
Yeah. His supposed father? Yeah.
That's actually Machine Smith.
Oh, you think?
Big reveal. Well, I mean, it's definitely a LMD. I think it's the Machine Smith inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my big fan theory. What's yours, Philip?
I told you, I wonder if it just has something to do with Rick Jones. You know, is it RJ a clone of Rick Jones, or?
It could be, or whoever is the, my theory, man, all look exactly alike.
True. Or I just wonder if Hydra Cap, he's like, hey, we killed Rick Jones, might as well use his DNA, you know.
Yeah, or maybe this is just one more lost orphan of the Rick Jones line.
Oh,
you're going to find out that actually they're all a time traveling Bucky. That like later you're going to find out that it was all a time traveling Bucky Barnes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but you did mention Avengers No Road Home #1.
Yeah, Avengers No Road Home. Really like this book. It is interesting. I get this vibe from this. Remember, when they did the Incredible Hercules series when the Hulk was dead for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to fight the being of darkness. It's the original. It's like, and they sort of made it into like they started out with this Japanese god character, the god of darkness, but then it's like actually he's the older god. He's the god from before things. And I noticed this when you look because they give you like the next 3 issues. Yeah, that looks like Nightmare, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Nightmare of Mephisto. I mean, I think that's Nightmare. So
I mean, it's tinged green. It does look like Nightmare. Yeah.
It makes me wonder if one of the things we're going to be getting in this is that this Nightmare scenario with Nyx is literally that, a nightmare.
Maybe.
That this is the thing. It's like the Nightmare world is coming true and all these kind of things. Although
maybe turning Avenger against Avenger because the cover for 4 looks like Hercules and the Vision fighting.
Yeah. It's interesting, man. There's a lot going on here. I do love we get Hulk and Barton having a word.
Because Hawkeye's talked to Banner before, but this is like the first face-to-face Hulk's had with Barton since he's been back.
Yeah. And do you think that the fact that we got some giant man particles that's going to come up?
I wonder, maybe. Yeah. I thought that the minute I thought, Giant Man particles, I'm like, is this going to come up in the store? It's going to come up in this store. Oh, Giant Man versus Hulk fight.
There you go. Well, those are always fun. But you know what's weird in this? And maybe this goes to this idea about Nightmare Realms as well. Clint isn't in uniform when he goes into the portal. When he come out of the portal, he's got his bow. He's completely geared up. When did he have time?
I don't know.
They went straight from Hulk to... Well, no, I guess they pick up Hercules first. But,
seriously, if you look at it, unless... basically all he did was change his shirt and has a bow. Unless they stopped to get it out.
Yeah, but when he get it, did he, run out to his car?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, it just seems odd that... And actually, you see, when they go to Hercules, he's already geared up. He doesn't have his glasses on yet. So I guess he's in process. But really, because he just has that little box. I guess maybe the box they're giving him has his bow and some buddy arrows and some pin particles. But I don't know. I'm not quite sure on all of this. So I think there's definitely something more going on here. And we're not going to just take out Scarlet Witch that fast. Come on.
No.
Yeah, but you also see on the cover, Fractured Universe.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that, Voyager uses something, her powers are some kind of weird mental thing. And it made me think, she is the Grandmaster's daughter, right?
Yeah.
What if she winds up in Avengers 4, Electric Boogaloo?
Oh, maybe.
Maybe that's the end game. Dun, dun, dun.
Maybe she's been playing everyone, including the Grandmaster.
Maybe she's been manipulating Thanos the whole time.
Thanos, the Elders, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe she is the real Grandmaster. We'll have to see. Now, the Collector had a daughter too. Like, of the Elders, I think those are the only 2 that we've ever heard have children. So
I think, but I mean, they're so old. You would think they all would have children.
Well, unless that was a they all need their obsessive distraction to stay alive. So maybe that would be too much of a distraction from their distraction.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be committed to perfecting something, unless you were perfecting making babies.
No,
I don't think so. Although it would be interesting if there was one who was like the parent. I am just the greatest raiser of children. But again, that's the kind of thing that would make it probably difficult to actually have children. Raising children and having children, two completely different skill sets.
Yep.
So that's why. But obviously they allowed themselves to be distracted once or twice, and they may have other kids. They may be like, but if they're like supposedly the last of their races, of the oldest races in the universe,
Mm-hmm.
You never know. You never know how they're breaking it up. It's the feast and famine. I was talking about. Yep.
Yes.
That is Dr. Teska. It is actually Samuel Edison. Is our early villain, who then Samuel Edison, J.B. Morgan, and then Anthony Carnegie is the philanthropic billionaire who funds Teska's research, and then him and here's what I say: the name of their Albert Einstein pastiche. They do it very different. He is I'm trying to see where they write his name. Albalienstein. Albalien. Alien. Alien. I think that's going to come up because there's definitely something going on with this storyline that is interesting in the way that they do it. I don't want to give any spoilers, but definitely go to your local comic shop. I think they can order all 3 issues now. And it seems like alternate comics just let you order stuff, and that's cool.
Oh, did you? You read Thor, right? Thor number 10.
Yes, I did read Thor. Speaking of bad parenting or good parenting,
very misleading cover.
Mm-hmm.
Because it looks like they're just having a drink, but no.
Yeah. Well, it's about the fact that Odin is a bad father, and
well, yeah, and they kind of go into his whole background too. It's good.
Yeah.
The only time he knew his father Bor loved him is when he beat him.
Yeah, and it is fascinating. It's a great dysfunctional family story, and I highly recommend it to all of you who want to hear about dysfunctional gods. Although it got me thinking, when any of these beings, whether it's Thor, whether it's Odin or Zeus, present themselves as the creators of the universe or the creators of life, it got me wondering if maybe there is a quality to them that they are never lying, because Odin and Zeus are actually the same person, but they're just different interpretations of that many-faced god.
Different aspects of the same being.
Exactly, and that's why they all have these different but Odin doesn't know that he's that, but he is that. And it got me even thinking about my old original theory about the Beyonders. Mm-hmm. That once the Beyonder came into contact with the temporal universe, that's when his psyche shattered.
Yeah.
And he started to become the Beyonders. But because he exists outside of time, that the occurrence that broke him was in the 1960s, it doesn't affect the fact that the Beyonders now exist throughout all times and all space.
Well, what if it's even like intentional, or there was like one supremely powerful being who was like, I'm too powerful, I have to split my consciousness and my powers, in multiple paths, or else, the universe is going to fracture. And that's why that's why you get an Odin or a Zeus who is such a, I don't want to say damaged, but that's why they're so morally ambiguous, and because they're not a full being.
I mean, it's entirely possible. Maybe that'll come into play in Miracle Workers, a show I like, because that is definitely a god who is having a hard day. And again, I gotta ask if Freya is Loki's real mother. Because it strikes me, she does refer to Thor as her son too, but she officially gave birth to neither of them.
Yeah.
But her closeness with Loki definitely seems like there's more to it than there. Although then again, going to that idea of are all gods related? Are they all part of just different facets? Maybe Freya and Gaia are not two different goddesses, which is why Freya maybe feels that, because Freya is the Earth Mother in Norse mythology and Gaia isn't, and they're actually both the same eternal being, but Freya is simply a more temporal aspect of that elder goddess Gaia. And so when she thinks of Thor, she thinks of it as her son because she is a form of the elder goddess Gaia as well. Now, whether or not Loki is her real son, which I think because that would explain why Loki is so short. And if you have this idea that, well, she's captured, does she have a thing with Laufey? Does Laufey force herself on him? We don't know. That is a topic for lots of comic book debates to be had.
But I mean, that would be interesting because, that way if both of them would be biological sons because Thor is Odin's biological son, then if you made Loki Freya's biological son. Yes.
Well, and like I said, I think he was born first, which makes him the true heir to the throne of Asgard. Through Freya. Yes.
Oh, and then I just love that, Odin, I guess Odin's finally ready to admit he has a drinking problem, so who does he go to chat about it on the last page?
Yeah, Tony Stark. Yeah.
I'm like,
well, you got a drinking problem in the Marvel universe. You can't call it Hellfire. We'll just tell you, we'll say it's not a problem.
But at the end of the 90s or in the beginning of the 2000s, they also said, Carol Danvers had a problem also. She was working on that.
Yeah, well, I do wonder. Well, they actually have referenced that a few times.
Yeah.
But I think it's less integral to the Carol Danvers story that she had a drinking problem.
Yeah, no.
And that, of course, also relates to her loss of powers, her loss of time and space. That there's a lot of trauma she went through.
Yeah. That
I think explained her drinking and why I think maybe it's been easier for her to move beyond it, perhaps. That's one theory. I don't know. But, it's pretty interesting. Shape of Elvira, I finally got around to reading.
Okay.
That is a good book. Just to give a little Dynamite number 1. Dynamite, Shape of Elvira. And again, these are all by Dynamite. And this one is coming out before, like I said, the other story seems to be finished yet. But it's basically she gets recruited to do a Shape of Water kind of Creature from the Black Lagoon film, spoilers. And they're saying that the actor is so method that he just refuses to be outside of the costume anytime he's with Elvira. If he does not know her, if he knows her as a normal person, he can never know her as a man. Reminds me of Jared Leto's Joker, where he just felt he had to make everyone think he was the Joker, and it's like, yeah, that was a loss. I'm sure. And and that's those comic books. Anything else you want to talk about, Phil?
I don't know. Do you want to make a quick mention of Amazing Spider-Man 15 since you read it?
Yeah. So, and again, I read. Where is it? This was 14, where we get our Rhino team up, and then pretty much as soon as it ends, we get they blow up the restaurant. And then we just open in the aftermath, and it's like, Rhino's in a bubble, and restaurant's destroyed, and Spider-Man's just like, what now? So there was definitely some missing scenes in this that I did not appreciate. We see that Arcade and Kraven are doing something again with the rhinos and vultures and other animal themed.
Well, yeah, that's the big Spider-Man crossover coming up. Hunted, I guess Kraven's hunting everyone now.
Didn't he already do that? Wasn't that the plot of Kraven's Last Hunt that he was hunting?
Well, he hunted Spider-Man in that one.
I know he was hunting all the animal themed villains for a while.
At some point he was. Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure where to go with Kraven.
They're trying to make Kraven a big thing, you know.
Really? Are they?
I guess, because, I mean...
He's with writing.
He's like the center of this crossover coming up, so I'm assuming, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kraven is a difficult sell to start, and just gets harder every time you try to sell him again. It's like... Yeah. You know? Yeah, it is odd.
Well, it's like the whole Kazar thing from Avengers, like, you know, a few months back. It's like, you know, they're trying to make him like a, you know, they're trying to show how dangerous he is, but everyone he's hunting is super powered. It's like, okay, well, you know, I think he needs some kind of gimmick that, you know.
Yeah, I don't get the Kazar aspect of it at all.
I mean, if they showed he had like all this technology or something, but yeah, it's just like, oh, I'm a guy in a loincloth going after all these superpowered guys. It's like,
well, he's infiltrating, because all he did was he infiltrated. I just don't understand how he went into Atlantis with no gear.
Oh, Kazar, yeah.
Yeah. I'm talking about Kazar.
Yeah.
That was what was weird about that. It's like, I could see him infiltrating anywhere. I could totally see him, but he still needs to breathe. That's the thing. It's like, man needs to breathe oxygen.
I mean, I wouldn't have thought any less of him if he had like an environmental suit. I really wouldn't have.
No, really. It's also weird because you also have, you know, we have had characters that have like had weird costumes that then the minute they like Shang-Chi, of course, upgraded his costume, and who's the teleporter? The Australian teleporter.
I know this.
Yeah, when you first see him, he's wearing a loincloth too, and then when he comes into the Avengers, like, I was doing stuff in the Outback at the time, so I was wearing a loincloth. Now I'm in Civilization. I wear, I think his name is Blink. No, it's not Blink.
No, that's
Blink
the girl.
That's the girl. Yeah, but yeah, he's a teleporter. So, but yeah, again, he started when you first meet him. He's like all, you know, Outback Aboriginal, you know, comic book character. But then when you see him outside of that context, when they later bring him back, he is now, you know, wearing clothing because, you know, it probably isn't comfortable to just be wearing a loincloth in an environment that is temperature controlled for people wearing clothing.
Yeah, I know.
It's like I mean, like a loincloth is great if you're in the sweltering Outback or the heated jungles of the Savage Land. You know, at Stark Tower, it's like, you know, it's gonna get a little nipply in there. So, yeah, I'm not feeling Kazar. Though at this, and again. Oh God,
Gateway. That's the guy.
Gateway.
Yes.
Yeah, he's cool. I like the character.
Yeah.
But you know, when Conan comes to the 20th century, he only wears in the What If, he's only wearing the loincloth for like the first couple of scenes because he hasn't have other clothes. As soon as other clothes become available, in fact, actually in his first scene, after he gets captured by the cops, he's like, they dress him, you know, so they give him clothing. And, you know, he's not quite sure what to do with his shoes because they slip. They don't have enough grip.
Is Conan going to be like the Luke Cage where he's going to wear modern clothes and they get like trashed every issue?
Well, no, I mean, who knows? See, in this one, it's a time travel story. So he may still be there. But again, you're doing a time travel story and only one of the characters is from a different time period as everyone else. It's like if they had like gotten, like if it had been, you know, this guy and this, you know, some medieval character. I'm sure Marvel has some medieval character they could have pulled out of somewhere. And, you know, then the Two-Gun Kid and then the Punisher. Then it like, okay, this makes sense. We're pulling them from all over time. But it's like, nope, we got this guy and everybody else is like the last 20 years. You know, doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but what are you going to do? Because apparently there were no great warriors between the Hyborian Age. And, like, I mean, you know, you could, like, pull in 1940s Cap. You could pull in 1950s Cap. You could pull in... There are heroes out there. You could... Sergeant Steele, you know, from... Got abducted by aliens and all that kind of stuff, you know. There are characters you could pull in here from more than just the last 20th century.
Yeah.
You could, you know, you could have pulled in Red Wolf. You could have pulled in the Two-Gun Kid. It's... Nope. Just this guy from before prehistory, and then everybody else.
Now that you mention this, I'm surprised they didn't like hype, the Savage Avengers coming up with like a mini series where like Conan travels to the present, but he lands in like different time periods. Like you get that Cap World War II, and he gets in a fight with Namor or something, and then
he would totally kick Namor's butt.
And and then you could leap ahead to Agents of Atlas and whatever else.
Well, which is also coming back, Agents of Atlas.
Oh yes, yeah.
And Braun is on it.
He's leading it, I think they said.
Oh, well, okay, that's cool. I like Braun. Yeah. Well, he did not take Mephisto's deal, but he got caught up in it.
Yeah.
But
I guess they're spinning a couple books, or at least miniseries. I don't know if that's a miniseries or not, because I guess there's a 3-issue miniseries called Giant Man, but it's like a 4-person team. It's like the new Giant Man. It's Scott Lang. It's Bill Foster, and who else was the fourth one? But yeah, there was like 4. Yeah, it's like 4.
Is it Hawkeye?
I didn't think.
Oh no, it's Atlas. It's Atlas.
Yes, Atlas. Yes, from Thunderbolts. Yes.
Yeah, so it's Atlas. And doesn't Atlas have ion powers too? Isn't he like a Wonder Man, Giant Man hybrid? Yeah,
because I think he originally just had the ionic powers like Wonder Man, and then like the psi stuff. I think it might have even been Pym Particles got thrown in the mix. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's always Pym Particles.
Yeah.
Celestar has never been able to say that they were actually star particles. He says he did it. Pym says not so much. But yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. He is actually my favorite Thunderbolts character. Is Atlas, because he is like he is your basic thug got superpowers kind of character. I love those guys who are just like, I just work here, man. I don't know. It's like why Black Ant is like probably my favorite evil LMD robot. Because even though he's an evil LMD robot, he's like, man, I'm still got the brain of O'Grady, and I'm just a guy who literally faked my own records just to steal an Ant-Man suit, just to peep on ladies. Which is literally, that is a big part of his backstory. And it is the creepiest part of his backstory, but he is so honest and forthright about it that you got to be like, okay, I would not want to be on the team with you. But supervillains, man, they honestly probably their supervillains should be a little more creepy. That's always a weird thing with Crusher Creel, because they really kind of gave him a redemption arc recently. That Hulk, and it's like this guy was in prison. Probably for multiple murders when Loki finds him, I mean, that's the thing. Do we know what he was in prison for to start?
I can't remember.
Maybe he killed Jack Murdoch in the ring. I don't know.
But I mean, yeah, it always seems like they're inconsistent with Absorbing Man, because like, I don't know if you ever read any of those Eric Masterson Thors. He just seemed like he was like, oh yeah, he's like a okay guy, but he just happens to commit crimes every so often,
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and that's my theory on Absorbing Man, because they did an interesting series with Absorbing Man where he started absorbing people's intelligence. And I forget what, I think that was an Absorbing Man and Hulk story, if I'm not mistaken. But he essentially, and this is my theory with Absorbing Man, it's that he maybe absorbs the personalities of people he's around. So when he's on an evil team, he becomes that much more evil, because he just starts to absorb the ambience of the team. And so when he's left to his own devices, he maybe does get much nicer, because when he's not committing crimes, he's not going to be out and out doing that. Although there have been stories where he seemed a bit sexual predatory, but then again, who knows who he was standing next to at the time.
Yeah, I'm looking on Wikipedia. It doesn't say what he was in prison for. It's just that he was a boxer, and then he was a jailed criminal who became the Absorbing Man when he drank the liquid from Loki. Yeah,
which makes you think. And not for nothing, Loki slipped in that Mickey. It wasn't even a choice. He just got it. Which also maybe means that here's a fun theory for Absorbing Man. I give this to you for free, Marvel. He was always a low-level telepathic mutant. And found himself absorbing the skills and personalities of people he was around. Not in like a major way, but so that when he started hanging out with villains, he started becoming more and more evil.
So here he had abilities. Loki just, added to the mix.
Yeah, basically made him absorb everything. Being able to take on all kinds of probabilities and possibilities. Upped his powers. And so he actually we almost never get to see his true personality except when he's with Titania. Mm-hmm. Because when he's with Titania and he's absorbing what is possibly her own damaged psyche, but at least it's a positive feedback loop when he's with the woman he loves, So
that would be an interesting story, just like, if Creel ever got a face-to-face with Loki, just be like, why did you ruin my life? And then, basically Loki does this is your life, and it's like, if I hadn't created you and made you this villain, bad stuff would have happened for humanity or something, or... Oh,
sure. Well, but Loki's always going to say that. Or even bad stuff would have happened for you. Not for nothing. You would have eventually become an old man in prison.
Yeah.
And an old man in prison does not do well.
You never would have been able to redeem yourself if you hadn't become this villain, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's. I mean, honestly, there's a lot you can do with Creel, and not for nothing, they've already done the heavy lifting of this over at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they brought in Creel as a government operative. Mm-hmm. Again, a guy who maybe is not in control of his own destiny. But I do love the randomness of Creel's origin, though. It is great. And it would be neat to see that Loki actually did have a deeper plan in picking it, aside from just, this guy looks like a rough and tough customer.
Yeah.
I bet you this guy could kick my brother's butt if he had if I juiced him up a bit.
But yeah, between the Loki stuff, I think it'd be an interesting story that's just waiting to be told between the Loki stuff and why was Creel in prison in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, really, I want to know. It'd be great if we wanted to know, just jaywalking. Man just will not pay his freaking parking tickets. And they do not cotton to that, man. After a certain point, they're like, you know what? You're going to jail. And not for nothing, he could have been at Rikers on a misdemeanor because he couldn't make bail. Mm. That's an interesting story for you to explore there.
Or it did say he was a boxer. What if he killed somebody, but it was in self-defense or something?
Yeah. Well, my favorite line is in Jailhouse Rock. When that's what happened to Elvis Presley, he accidentally kills a guy with his hands in a bar fight. And the warden tells him, he says, here, you killed a man with your bare hands. Just so you know, here we use guns. Great line, and actually a really good movie. Jailhouse Rock is probably Elvis Presley's best film. Not that it has a lot of competition for Elvis Presley films, but yeah. What might have been.
All right, our time's pretty much up.
Okay, we talked everything from Tuska to Elvis, so that is your title right there.
That's Superconnectivity.
That is Superconnectivity. It all connects. So Philip, if people would like to connect with you and talk about other ways you could spell historical figures' names for the Loki series, how can they do so?
You can always get a hold of me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am @nightwingpdp, and just check out Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks on YouTube, all the podcatcher services, and social media. Follow us everywhere.
And there we go. And of course, you can always direct me the old-fashioned email way the way our moms and pods once did. Back in the 80s, I guess. I was going to say back in the 60s, but they didn't have email in the 60s. It's like Loki used to. Sending his little love letters to Crusher Creel. There's a ship for you. Let that ship sail. You can always write to me at Superconnectivity blog @gmail.com. That's Superconnectivity, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when it comes back. The Good Place when it comes back. And right now, what is already here is a little show I like to call Miracle Work. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
There you go. Thank you for connecting with us, ladies and gentlemen. Please, I implore you, super connect with us once again. Good night.
Good night. And now we dance.
And now we dance, yeah. Oh. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of comic books out there, Phil.
Oh, yeah.
But I like to read them. They're good. And I do not know why the DC app does not let me, like, access it. Like, I don't know. It's difficult for me.
It knows who you are.
Yeah, something.